Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. Today, I want to dissect in a bit more detail. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. I see what you're saying, Benson, we don't need to hear about this game anymore. But unfortunately, if I don't start somewhere back making videos during an international break after a Chelsea loss, then well, the energy just remains negative. We don't really look at how we're going to build to move forward and how things can improve, because evidently, there's all the stats coming out about Chelsea's XG, be it XG for conceding goals. We're third in the league, but we're 12th in the Premier League. That is the only figure that matters, the league position, not the XG charts. But today, I want to talk a little bit more about the individual ratings from the game. I'm not going to go through player by player because that would be very monotonous for you and also for me. But we also need to talk here about the recruitment. There are hot takes coming out everywhere at the moment about Pochettino. We can blame him. He's not good enough. The players, they're all not good enough. Or the owners, they're the problem. These are the things that we do as fans. When Chelsea don't win football matches, we're looking for reasons. We're looking for scapegoats, excuses, and places to kind of put this negativity, anger, sadness, frustration, whatever it might be. And in this video, I want to try and take a look at the heat maps of some of the players, identify what some of the issues are as to why Chelsea can have such high XG and such high XG or good XG in terms of conceding, but yet we still concede and we don't score. That is how you don't win football matches. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, you can see here the highest rated player in the team is Malo Gusto. I gave Gusto a 6.5. I think overall the defence, other than the goal, were pretty solid. The midfield, it was pretty much non-existent in the sense of an actual midfield basis. And that is why I want to take us straight from the player ratings here to take a little look at the heat maps of Gallagher, Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. So, first of all, let's take a little look at Moises Caicedo. The arrow's pointing down. Don't need to explain all of this to you. But as you can see, the darker points on this heat map, the red parts, are on the right-hand side. You move to look at Gallagher, and it's basically the same thing. And there, you look at Enzo Fernandez, and it's basically the same thing. When you talk about Chelsea not creating clear-cut opportunities, the problem is all of the midfielders, Enzo, Caicedo, and Gallagher, were on top of one another. There were no passing lanes to be found. There were no ways to break through the Nottingham Forest midfield because Forest, they knew exactly what to do. Pack out the player on the ball, surround the player who's actually trying to make the pass for Chelsea, with 3 or 4 Nottingham Forest players, force us backwards, and that is how we get into those same monotonous patterns that we saw so frequently last season from Chelsea Football Club. Enzo, Gallagher, Caicedo, it's still a new trio. It's a new partnership here that we're looking to build at Chelsea, and to expect it to just click and work straight away would be a little bit foolish. However, you've also got the opposition. Nottingham Forest, they've spent a lot of money. Again, they've brought in a lot of new players. They've got a 37-man squad that Steve Cooper is trying to figure out who the best players are. But what they did do was prepare to play against Chelsea in the way that they know frustrates Chelsea the most. And I want to take it back to the opening day of the season, where Chelsea played against Liverpool. We went 1-0 down. We got ourselves an equaliser. We got ourselves back into the game. And I think very few people would say Chelsea didn't deserve, maybe if either team would have got a winner, probably should have been Chelsea against Liverpool. The reason that Chelsea and Liverpool matched up against each other significantly better than we did against Forest is because when teams are coming to be more expansive, Liverpool can't come to Stamford Bridge and park the bus, have this low block of 2 different groups of players, midfield, defence, all behind the ball. They can't do that. Liverpool can't come and play that way because if it doesn't work, the fans are going in on Klopp, and quite frankly, they've got too much quality to ever spend 90 minutes trying to do this on the pitch, whereas Nottingham Forest, they smartly looked at what Chelsea were doing last season. When Chelsea were at Stamford Bridge, struggling to break teams down to score a goal, Nottingham Forest made us play in the exact same way, which is why, as the second half went on here on GBFC, I was saying, we're not going to go ahead and score. I could tell with about 25 minutes to go that we weren't going to break this Forest team down. Lo and behold, it looks like I knew what I was talking about, but then you've also got players in front of goal. Nicholas Jackson, who I've given a 4.5 rating because your striker, the job of the striker is to put the ball in the back of the net. Raheem Sterling does incredibly well to get the ball to Jackson in that position. It's a great run to the byline again, being direct, trying to make things happen. And then Nicholas Jackson, it's inexcusable how he manages to put the ball over the crossbar from literally 4, maybe 5 yards out. And overall, it's the lack of attacking identity here that has made Chelsea not win this game. Nottingham Forest didn't play us off the park. They didn't create better chances than us or more chances than us. But when they had the opportunity, Anthony Elanga was clinical. And I've also got questions about Sanchez in goal. I think Sanchez should be doing better with that. The shot isn't too powerful from Elanga. He just takes a flipping year and a half to get down on his left side to make the save in the first place. So when we look at this and we think about Chelsea once again repeating what we saw under Tuchel, under Potter, under Lampard, and now seemingly in the early phases here under Pochettino, there are a couple of things that need to happen. And the question that I have, which is why it's so deflating to lose this game, because the recruitment right now at Chelsea. Some people are saying that Bowley's got no idea, Clearlake, Egbali, none of these guys have got any clue what they're doing. What they are doing, if we were to just look at it face value, they're trying to build a young team for the future. They tried to give Graham Potter time, it didn't work. People got frustrated, they realised it wasn't going anywhere. With Pochettino, this is the key part. I think Mauricio Pochettino has more than enough about him as a manager to be able to look at the similarities between not even the personnel, because we've got so many different players, but the way that we build up and how do Chelsea play against teams that will come to Stamford Bridge and just park every man behind the ball. We have got to have more clinical attackers, and we have got to find different passages of play to break teams down, the way that Spurs have been absolutely brilliant to watch under Ange Postecoglou, because they've got players making dynamic movements, dropping deep so that other players can get in behind. James Maddison, you'd expect him to be the main attacker, but he's not the main attacker. He's dropping deep to take players out the game. Right now, Chelsea don't have any dynamic movement, any dynamic runners in the team making those runs to make things easier for those in front of them. There's no experienced players in the team to be able to grab a game that's gone completely away from us and swing it in Chelsea's favour. Which is why when people are saying it's all Bowley's fault, we're making the worst signings, we're bringing in the wrong kinds of players, I don't necessarily think we're bringing in bad players. I just don't think we've brought in anywhere near enough balance to this Chelsea team. There isn't enough experience when you're losing 1-0 against a team who are difficult to break down, who are very well organised. Who's going to be that player to be able to take on different tactical instructions? And I think the biggest problem with Pochettino was, okay, we're using a formation and a team that I don't think we should ever use again. Let me make this clear. The left back, Levi Colwill, the left winger, Ben Chilwell, I never want to see this at Chelsea ever again. I don't think the players are going to be happy with it. As a fan, I'm looking at this thinking, why on earth have we spent £1 billion yet we're still playing players out of position? An issue that we have had for about 5+ years. Playing players out of their positions and expecting us to be able to adapt and develop different implementations of tactics on a football field? No. Ben Chilwell is a left back. Yes, he loves to get forward, but he has been useless playing as a left winger in the past few games. And are we trying our best to accommodate for this because maybe Pochettino isn't happy with the players that have been brought in? Yes, we've had injuries. Yes, Christopher Nkunku was the main man during pre-season. Kane Chukwuemeka took that mantle from him, got injured against West Ham. These are uncontrollable things. But Pochettino's job is to understand that, okay, we don't have all of the personnel available right now to play the way that I want us to play. But as a result of that, let's not try and do something that's clearly not working. And this is why I'm kind of happy at this point of the season that we've lost this game like we did now. Because it's only 4 games into the season. Pochettino has now got 2 weeks to sit down and look at what we're doing here. Look at the fact that we're focusing so much of our play down that right-hand side, which is bloody obvious if you've got a brain, which Steve Cooper and Nottingham Forest did. Chelsea were trying to put everything down that right-hand side because there's no balance over on the left. So whenever we got the ball, Forest were in position because they knew where it was going. It's a repeat of all of the issues that we have seen for years. And Pochettino isn't necessarily under pressure, in my opinion, yet, because I do believe he is going to have seen just how poor it was in that second half in particular against Nottingham Forest. And in terms of rectifying it, as much as he's not got all the players to work with right now because they're on international duty, we have got to start figuring out a way to basically understand that we made our bed here with these signings. We've got an average age of 22.5 years old. The window is closed. We've spent £1 billion, which makes Chelsea at the top of everybody's list when it comes to pinpointing scrutiny for things not going very well. When Chelsea don't do well this season or have a bad game, everyone's going to be looking at what we've spent, looking at the owners, looking at the manager. And I think overall, I just think with these players being so young, we've bought into the excitement because of the potential. But right now, the Premier League, the levels are too high to expect to spend £1 billion and have players immediately come in and change the fortunes of what we saw last season. And I think a lot of it comes from the midfield. When Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, hypothetically, it should be a magnificent midfield. Enzo still isn't as good as we know he can be. Caicedo has had an incredibly slow start to life at Chelsea Football Club, but I also think it's because he was a moving part of a jigsaw that every piece fitted in under De Zerbi at Brighton. This Chelsea team, we're still just trying to botch things together right now. Yes, we got loads of injuries, but I'm not allowing that as an excuse anymore. Pochettino has to formulate a system with these players that puts players in their positions. Chelsea should never be starting a game with 3 centre-backs against Nottingham Forest or Luton at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. That is a fundamental issue with the manager's selections. And overall, how long are we going to have to wait for these players to be as good as we think they can be? And right now, they're just not there. They're just not the quality needed to put Chelsea near the top of the Premier League table. We're 8 points adrift of City after 4 games. I was getting excited that maybe we could mount a challenge a few weeks ago. And it was short-sighted because from what I saw in that game against Forest and even against Wimbledon, overall so far this season, 2 wins in 5, 1 out of 4 in the Premier League. There are serious things missing in this Chelsea team. And we have just got to accept right now, matchup-wise, against teams that will come and try and play, we're good because we've got good players. But against teams who are going to sit back, pack the box, and frustrate us, there are no experienced players in this squad right now ready to do what's necessary to take us up a level, to make something happen. That's all about the movement. It's all about potentially even being frustrated with the way that we're being asked to play. So much needs to change here at Chelsea right now. Certainly isn't the manager. Seen some crazy takes about Poch out. Definitely we're not there yet. The owners have spent a lot of money, but I just think balance is the fundamental issue with this Chelsea team. We've invested too much on youngsters that aren't going to deliver right now with no experience in the side. How Pochettino deals with this will depend on how well he's going to do at this football club. If he doesn't manage to find a way to be like, well, all right, we're a bunch of kids running around, but it's Chelsea. He's been saying it himself. We have to win. We can't wait 5 years. Poch won't be there when these players are entering their primes if we keep finishing in mid-table. We cannot allow for that. Chelsea need to understand now that we've made our bed. We got to lie in it, and we got to figure something out. So over the course of this international break, I'm going to try my best to dig more into the way that we could line up, even with the injuries we have right now. Take a look at the strong points of this team. How do we make these 3 midfielders, who are all very good in their own way, Gallagher included, how do we get all 3 of these not jumping on top of one another? How do we open space? How do we find those passing lanes behind these incredibly low blocks that we keep on facing, particularly at the bridge? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you're feeling right now as Chelsea fans. I took 2-3 days longer than I normally would to make this video because it just killed my weekend, to be quite honest. It's been a horrible start to the week. It always is when Chelsea lose. If you did enjoy the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you are new. Stay tuned for these bad boys that are coming your way soon. They're incredible. Absolutely unbelievable. Thank you for watching. Come on, you Blues.